had more confidence speaking English? The English Conversation Club is your global hub to boost fluency, network with inspiring professionals, and dive deep into today's hottest topics. Members get live conversation practice 7 times a week and much more. We only open enrollments every few months, so join the waitlist today if you don't want to miss out. Plus, I'll send you a code for 40% off your first month of membership. The link is in the show notes. Now, let's dive into today's topic. Where's the best place to set up your business? Hi, Karen. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Christina?
Doing well, doing well. Yeah, today we got an interesting topic. It's all about where to set up your business. I guess if you're like a global entrepreneur and you have that kind of freedom, you can really pick where you're going to be doing business based on all sorts of interesting criteria that we're going to talk about, I think.
Yes. I think we've had several people that have opened businesses around the world. So this will be an interesting topic for them to make sure that they are opening their business in the best possible location. I know the United States, of course, made the list. It is so far so good. It's a great place.
It's a good place right now.
Yes, right now. We'll see what happens in November. But also they said Singapore and Denmark. That was kind of, what do you think about those locations, best places to
Singapore, I'm not surprised because I know that Singapore is, it's a very rich country and it's very focused on, driving business and building up the economy. I actually watched a random YouTube video on that last week. I was supposed to be doing my morning yoga and then I went down a YouTube rabbit hole of watching random videos. And one of them was why is Singapore so rich? And I said, that's I don't know. Let's check it out. And so I'm not going to tell the whole story, but basically it is a very business focused country and they do a lot to encourage businesses to come and set up. So I wasn't surprised about that. Denmark, however, I was really surprised because now I know that Denmark regularly tops the list of places where people are the happiest in the world and things like that. But I believe that they have a huge amount of tax on businesses. I mean, that's probably how they help to finance programs which make them some of the happiest people in the world. But I was surprised about that because it is a relatively small country, not that size is important, but surprised about that, mostly because of the income tax, the things that I've heard about Denmark. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they ranked it based on inflation. They say cost of living, economic growth, and fiscal policies. Like you were talking about income tax, those fiscal policies are very important. The other article was talking about income tax. Some countries don't. Oh, that would be great, right? Not to charge an income tax.
Exactly. You're like, ooh. Now that's interesting because I know that I'm on LinkedIn pretty regular. I'm always on LinkedIn, and there are some people on LinkedIn, entrepreneurs here in France, and they're posting in French and things like that, and they're talking about how they went to set up their business in Dubai or some other, let's say, low to no tax country. And a lot, I feel like you tell me if I'm wrong on this, but I feel like if someone in the US had posted on their social media, hey, I'm setting up my business in Dubai, so I don't have to pay any taxes, people would be like, good for you, great business. They would be very supportive of it because it's a good business move. Whereas I've seen a lot of the comments here in France. They're like, oh, you're not supporting the national education system and you're not supporting hospitals and you're just going to come back to France when you get sick or, and so being very critical of that. Now, I don't know. What do you think? How would Americans react?
We don't care about that stuff.
We don't have any, right?
Social services. We always, when they're campaigning, when the presidents, our former presidents are campaigning, they always say, we are not a socialist country. We don't want to be
Yeah.
like Europe. They say that
Yeah.
all the time. So we don't really
Yeah.
care about that. Yeah. We would say kudos,
Yeah. It's like good
great.
for you for,
Good for you. You aren't you smart? Like we had our former president say one time, hey, I don't pay a lot in taxes because I'm
yeah.
smart.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
people
I think
like
it's like
that.
in the
They
US,
said,
it's
oh,
like it's seen as if being able to avoid paying as much taxes as you can is seen as like, oh, you're smart. Whereas I think here in France, the tendency is like, oh, if you're trying to avoid paying taxes, you're trying to avoid doing your part to help society and to help, pay for hospitals and schools and public service and things like that. But again, it's also perhaps because, like you said, in a lot of European countries, they do have these, very strong social systems, which in the US, it's basically just non-existent.
exactly. Like major corporations here, for instance, Amazon, they pay no taxes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people don't think anything's wrong with that. They're like, oh, great, they don't pay any taxes. Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't like taxes. We don't like taxes here in the United States. The lower the
Yeah.
taxes, the better.
Yeah.
So different
Yeah.
culture. Yeah, totally different culture. As far as the social services go, nobody. I don't think anybody would ever say that. Oh, well, you're not contributing to,
Yeah.
to the national health care, or you're not contributing to, uh,
Public
social
schools or
services.
things like that. Yeah.
We don't. Well, the public school systems are. That's a whole nother issue. That's determined by property taxes here. So
Mm.
if you're in a rich neighborhood, you're going to have better schools than some
Yeah.
of the low income neighborhoods. So that's a
Right.
whole nother issue.
That's
Totally different culture. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Totally different culture, totally different way of structuring society and things like that. But yeah, I was, if we get back to that question of like, where would be a good place to set up your business? Yeah, I mean, if you're only looking at it from a business perspective, then it would make sense to go to somewhere like Antigua or, St. Kitts or Bahrain to set up your business, just because those people, those countries have no taxes. But then I think you have to look at other issues, for example,
Of course. Mm-hmm.
like, I don't know, what's the society like? What are the rules and the regulations? What's the quality of life like?
Yeah,
Well, I guess I don't know if you're just setting up your business and you're never there, maybe that's not as important as if you were actually living there and doing business in that country.
I did think it was interesting that they had these places that had no income tax. Also, they're beautiful. The weather is beautiful. These tropical islands. So not only do you pay no income taxes, you also get to live in a beautiful country. So
yeah, exactly. Although I am looking at this list and I see Somalia on here.
Oh, okay, wow.
Which why it's tax free? Okay, it's a quite poor and unsafe country to live in, which is why it's tax free. I guess maybe they're trying to attract people to come and help to improve the situation there. But yeah, it's interesting. And I was kind of curious. I was like, how do these countries function with no tax then? Because I mean, whether you're in a European country, which has a very heavy tax system, but a very heavy social system, or the US, which has income tax, but not so much social systems. But either way, you need taxes to pay for things. And so I was like, how do these countries function with no income tax? And they said a lot of them, it's like, for example, I think Saudi Arabia or Qatar or Kuwait or something, countries like that, they're like, oh, they just make so much money off of the oil and gas that's how they fund, their country basically. And I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've read the same thing. Like these countries, oil-rich countries, they can the revenues from the oil, they can support their economy. So I thought that was very interesting. Other countries probably could do the same thing, but they choose not to. I'm sure they could, like the United States, probably we always want low taxes here. So we could probably lower the taxes too, because we could depend on other sources of revenue.
On just business, maybe, Yeah.
Yeah.
Tax
Yeah.
on capital or something
Number
like that.
one here in the United States, work.
Just tax the number of hours worked. Maybe that would help to give people a work-life balance. I don't know. Right. No, very interesting. So I guess final question. If you were going to go and set up a business, where would you choose to go and set it up based on reading 2 articles and not really doing any deep thinking about this very strategic question?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'd probably stay right here in the United States because I speak English.
There you go. That works.
That's another consideration, the language.
Also, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, thanks a lot, Karen. Have a good one, and
you too.
Go start a business in some international place.
Yeah, I'll be moving to Somalia next week.
Oh, there you go. We'll look forward to seeing you there. Right. Thanks, Karen. See you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening. But if you want to become a member of a global tribe of inspiring professionals becoming confident in English, get on our wait list. You'll be the first to know when we open enrollment again, and I'll send you a code for a 40% discount off your first month of membership. This is Christina from Business English with Christina, and I'll talk to you soon.